Yeah, my name's Karam. I release music under the alias Webmoms. I'm a producer, instrumentalist, and songwriter, and I've been making music for about 6 years under this project.
What inspires you to pursue music?
Yeah, so prior to being a Webmoms, I was in a bunch of rock bands. I used to tour quite a lot I played drums in a prog metal band, and I played guitar in like an alt rock band for years. Um, my parents are both musicians, so our house was always full with music of all sorts, like jazz, Latin, um, Caribbean music. My dad's Jamaican, Indian music from my mum's side, and yeah, I guess I learned to play guitar when I was pretty young, and that it kind of snowballed from there.
What did your parents instill in you?
It's hard to say. I mean, yeah, I guess my dad is a bit more like open with his creativity. My mum was classically trained, so in terms of like mashing up everything and being original, it's definitely I'd get that from my dad's side. Yeah, I kind of grew up on a lot of Caribbean music, but yeah, there's not one particular artist I'd say. I've been recently listening to this flautist actually from Martinique called Max Silla, and I play the flute as well. So there's a really cool. I can't say I've brought much of his influence into my music, but I've definitely been digging it a lot recently. So,
How would you say your work ethic helped you career-wise?
I feel like that's one of the things that is at the forefront of me trying to stay like vigilant in terms of how to effectively manage and organize my career strategy and like monetize certain things and become effective at not just being a creative person, but being a creative person that is also treating it like a business as well. Like it is a business. And I'm the first born of three siblings. So I kind of got the deep end of like be good at school, make sure you pay attention in class and that kind of thing. And yeah, I think that element of working hard, especially as a family of like an immigrant family, is definitely one thing that's always at the back of my mind is like, this music thing as a serious commitment rather than just a random hobby is really important. And that definitely comes from my parents. And my parents have been super supportive of that. So yeah, I thank them every day.
Any tips to take music from a career to a hobby?
That's a good question. I think just in terms of the amount of time and effort you give your craft and taking it from, I guess it depends where you sit. So like primarily I am an instrumentalist and a producer. So when this was a hobby, I guess I was just logging on to Logic. I was making beats and I didn't really plan for it to go anywhere. There was no end goal. I think picturing the long-term goal and actually making a timeline, making a budget, putting those wheels into motion is what takes it from being a hobby to being a serious endeavor. Just seeing it on that bigger picture a little bit more than just, I'm just going to have a jam, I'm just going to play around. When I was in bands, I guess it's always been, we're going to work our full-time jobs or do whatever, and then the music's going to be on the side, but we're not going to give it any less like effort or any less energy. So to be honest, I've never really considered a timeline until recently where it's become more of a career for me. It's always just been like, I'm just going to keep hammering it. I'm going to keep doing as much as I can until it takes off and I get to a point where I've got a foot in the door. And now I guess I have maybe like half a foot in the door. Now I'm like, okay, I want to aim to have a full album recorded by this point. I want to aim to have X amount of singles out by this point and a tour lined up and blah, blah, blah. That's, yeah, kind of one thing I've implemented recently. I guess it's about managing your own expectations of yourself and reminding yourself that it's okay just to also take time away, like not be so invested in it all the time, 100%. Like that can be a big killer. You get burnt out so easily.
How would you say your style has evolved over the years?
Yeah, so I started in the kind of instrumental world, making beats, mostly centered around lo-fi hip hop and chill hop and that sort of thing. Um, so yeah, I just open up the door. I use Logic Pro, but I kind of tend to be drawn towards organic sounds, usually playing guitar or piano, and then recording live percussion and stuff like that, rather than just kind of going for the splice loops and the pre-made stuff. And I guess over the last 2 years, I've started implementing a bit more of my own vocals. Um, it's taken a long time. I went from just being a bit of a rapper every now and then to like the occasional hook, and now the last EP I dropped was like all my voice singing and harmonies and everything. So it's kind of, yeah, that's the direction I'm moving into. Moving forward is going to be a bit more R&B, Afro beats, hip hop stuff, and leaving the instrumental stuff behind, because I think I've done that and I want to do something a bit more exciting now.
What would you say drives you to be creative?
Honestly, I can't quite explain it. It's just like a really relaxing kind of almost meditative state, like especially when I'm not stressing too much about a track to meet a deadline, or if I'm not in the end stages of finishing a mix. Like when it's the creative flow, it feels so natural. And that sounds so cliche and kind of like pretentious, but it is literally like, it's my favorite thing to do. It just kind of feels like, I don't know, walking sometimes. It's just,
Do you have any advice for artists that are new to the industry?
I would say gather as many skills as possible and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because for me, I mean, everyone's story is different, I suppose. But for me, like being able to produce, but also play guitar or flute on someone else's track and tour with someone else's band, and also edit my own videos and use Photoshop to make my own flyers and that kind of stuff has been really valuable in not just saving money for my own project, but making money and like making sure that I can still make money out of the music industry, even when I'm not actually making music. I'm making a flyer for someone or editing a video or featuring on a track on an instrument. And so I say like jack of all trades, I guess, if you can.
Do you have a pin or are you a one-man show?
Yeah, it's just me. I had a manager for a little bit. We stopped working together last year, middle of last year, just because, I mean, that's expensive. I'm still lucky to be making a bit of money from music and producing, but like, it was a big commitment to sacrifice. Even though I gained back some of my time by offloading the work, I'm not sure it was worth the like financial sacrifice. So I'm back to just it being me. I do think long term, like you get to a point where there's too much to do without having a manager, and maybe I'm reaching that point again. I'm so used to being a one-man ship that I kind of got used to knowing what to do, I suppose.
Tell us a little bit about your last album.
Yeah, so that was actually my first all-vocal EP. It's called For Us, By Us, and it was, the first EP I've ever released where I'm singing and rapping and doing whatever on every track. It was kind of quite a personal EP, but also very relatable and touches on the experiences of being a person of colour in Cornwall, which is where I live at the moment, which is a super kind of rural countryside part of the UK. And it kind of digs into that a lot. I also collabs. I got features from, let me reword that. Also features some really exciting artists of colour. A guy called Ray the Boffin from Nigeria, and Lottie versus the World, who's also from the UK. And something I'm really proud of, and kind of a story I want to continue telling in my music moving forward.
What can your fans expect from you on in the next year?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I recorded some songs with my full live band. So my next couple of singles are going to be like full band releases rather than just like me producing the beats. It's going to be, live sounding. And the same band is then, we're going on tour with an act called Nubian Twist here in the UK. And then we've got a couple of headline shows all over the UK. And then we're hitting Europe for the first time, which is really exciting. So we're going to do some shows in Germany and the Netherlands and France. And it's going to be a full-on month, but it's going to be a lot of fun.